Hey everyone, welcome to Off the Mat, a podcast about two women's experience in Jujutsu and how that translates into our lives off the mat. I'm Justine, a bit of a renegade, outdoor enthusiast, and a white belt in Jujutsu.
And I'm Karina, a full-time student, creative artist, and also a white belt on my way to becoming a black belt.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Off the Mat.
Hi guys, welcome to our 5th episode. We have someone special with us today.
Yes, another milestone in the Off the Mat podcast history as we have our first guest appearance by our friend from our Jujutsu gym, Austin.
Say hi, Austin.
Hi.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How
Good
are
to
you?
hear. We're doing great.
We're happy to have you here.
Happy to be
We
here.
normally see him on Monday and Wednesday nights
Yes.
on a big blue and yellow mat. And tonight we've got a little bit of a different arena that we're in, and so kind of
Totally different.
yeah, right? Just
Yeah.
a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, and he very kindly agreed after our invitation in last week's episode to come and speak with us tonight about a
That's
whole
right.
variety of things. So maybe you can start with introducing yourself a bit, who you are, how you got involved with Jiu-Jitsu.
Alright, I was born here in Gainesville. I grew up out in High Springs in Fort White. About to be 30 next month,
Woohoo.
and I currently have two kids, which is 9 and 7, or she's about to be 9. And yeah, we started Jiu-Jitsu back in, I think, September of 2021.
Same time as us,
Yep,
actually.
same time.
Yeah,
as
we
y'all.
started
Yeah.
about the same exact time, which is actually really crazy to think about.
Yeah.
Because we kind of have all seen each other a little bit from.
Well, and especially because you're better than us in that amount of time. So
I don't think
We know
so.
it's true.
No, we know it's true. We
I
have the
don't think
video
so.
evidence.
We do have video evidence.
Listen, you knew what to look for.
Okay, that's fair.
So September, so almost about 6 months, same as us.
Yep.
And what
Just
made-
got my first stripe the same day they did.
Hey.
Hell yeah.
That's right.
And what brought you into the door to start doing that?
So it actually, my daughter used to do Taekwondo in a company in Gainesville with some after-school program, and when we moved out of town, that was no longer an option. So she got really wrapped up in the softball at that point, but we still wanted her to learn a martial art. So we were steady on the search, and my wife ended up finding Train Mat Life. So as soon as she brought it to my attention, I was like, do they have adult classes? Because at that time, I was already looking for a gym myself. I was actually looking more for like a workout gym, like CrossFit or something, because I'm lazy and my motivation sucks. So I needed that group environment.
Feel you.
To kind of get me going and stuff. So when she said they had adult classes right after kids, I was like, that's happening. Sign me up, please.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and now you're doing it
Yeah.
2-3 times a week.
Yeah, I
Ever
would
since.
more if I could.
Yeah,
I really
feel
would.
you.
Which is interesting because I remember a couple weeks ago you told me that when you first started you were going like once a week or twice a week,
Yes.
and
Yeah,
you
it
had-
took me a long time to get into that routine, and also to get to the point to where like I wanted to go.
Yeah.
It
Us
did.
too.
It
I
took
think
me
we
a
were-
little minute.
We were on the same page. We didn't even jump into no-gi for a while.
Yeah.
So we were going twice a week, and I think we're lucky because we had kind of an accountability partner. So I never was the one to be like, I'm not going to go today because I have somebody else who's counting on me. That's 50%.
Yeah, but we'd definitely get in the car and be like, I don't really feel it
Yeah.
today, but
I would be coming to the end of my day at work, and I'm like, oh, I'm not going tonight. Not happening.
Right.
I was just tired.
Well, especially in the beginning, I don't know if it was the same for you because you were training at Jonesville, but I imagine it was similar. We were just getting our ass kicked every single time, and
Yeah.
at the start it was a lot of takedowns, and Jason liked to play King of the Mat, so
Oh yeah.
we would go up against, these brown belts, blue belts, and have no clue what we were doing. It was just a matter of seconds, like 5 seconds, 10 seconds was a good
Yep.
10-hour turnout before we were like on our asses on the mat, and
Yeah.
we just felt like we were being whiplashed every class. Like we'd go home and be like, man, I'm sore as fuck
Oh, yeah.
right now.
I
yeah.
felt like I was hit by a train.
Yeah.
Like a lot.
Getting out of bed and you're just like stiff as a robot.
I think my knees were like purple bruised for months.
This girl gets bruised bad.
Yeah,
It took
I kind of look
forever
like a
for it to
cheetah.
go away.
Yeah,
A little bit.
I think you have that cream that you use.
I told you
Yeah,
that.
that blue.
I feel like you drink it.
I do. My parents even got it for me for Christmas. They
Wow.
put it in my
That's
stuff because I
excessive.
just
That's
use
funny.
it excessively. But yeah, I think, Austin, one of the main reasons we wanted to have you on the show is, apart from you being our friend, is that we are interested about the male perspective on a lot of the things that we talk about here. Obviously, we're two girls doing jiu-jitsu, and the platform upon which we started this was that we really want to be able to kind of address some of the concerns that women might have entering the sport, because our conversations were often occurring at bars or things like that where we would discuss all of these dimensions. And last week we were talking about rolling specifically, which is probably the more intimate aspect of jiu-jitsu, where two bodies are really
Most
just
definitely.
like smashed together. And you know, Karina
All
is
personal space out the window.
all personal
All
space out the window, and she is
All
has the patent for the quote of, you know, rolling in jiu-jitsu being the equivalent of having sex with somebody that you just met off the street.
Do you agree or not agree?
I mean, to a point.
Give it to me. Just give it to me.
It's
To a
basically
point.
sex
I mean,
with your clothes on.
It is weird. It was weird at first. It was.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're kind of curious what your perspective is and what your experience has been rolling with women. You roll with the two of us, you know, you roll with some of the other girls who are there, and just kind of what that's like, because a lot of men, they don't want to roll with women. Maybe not in our gym, but that's kind of the stereotype that you see play out. I know there's a news article recently about a girl who was on a wrestling team, and the school actually didn't let her compete. It was in DC. Even though there's no one else in the school in her weight class, they just forfeited that weight class.
Damn.
But they thought if she competed on the team and rolled with the guys, it would deter any of the alpha males from
my
joining.
gosh. We had a state champion at our school growing up that was a chick. She was a badass.
Love
Really?
that.
Yes.
In our school, our
She was
our
a
kicker
badass.
for our football team was a girl, and she was a
Wow,
cheerleader.
That's awesome.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
But
That's
rare.
cool.
You know, these are the things that
Yeah.
are news stories
Yeah.
because they're rare. So, what's your perspective on that?
Okay, well, I will go ahead and say that I do not look at a female any lesser on the mat than I do a male at all, because there are some very powerful women out there, some very powerful women. So as soon as I'm on the mat, I have the mentality that everybody here can beat my ass. And like I will say that's one thing I love about jiu-jitsu, and you guys have mentioned it before, that it really humbles you.
Oh,
It
man.
really does. Like I don't go on there and get cocky by no means, no matter how many times I get somebody in a triangle or whatever.
That's your favorite move.
That is my
You're
favorite
real
move.
good at it too.
But
Props to you.
anytime I am successful at something I wanted to do there, like I don't think that I'm the best at that by no means. Like you guys say I'm really good, I don't think I'm good at all. Like there is definitely some shit I need to work on, 100%. So rolling with females is to me it's fucking fun. I love it. I love it.
Just
Like,
rolling in general.
yeah, like rolling in general is fun. A lot of the times I end up rolling with the bigger dudes, but that's because growing up, like most of my encounters were always with somebody bigger than me. So and that's been my entire life. So I always go for that. So I'm ready for that shit, you know.
Right.
And I know that if I could take down the giant, then it's a little easier taking down a little person to an extent.
Right, and
To
we
an extent.
experienced that too, of like going with bigger people, which is why I feel like we're similar, is because we kind of are put in this place where most of the other people are a good deal bigger than us.
Yes.
But I wouldn't say too much that in my life that I was faced with this giant, right? So
Yeah.
I feel like it's nice that we have this, you know, kind of balance where you've maybe been in these positions before and we haven't, and we're getting a taste of it.
Mhm.
And it's nice too how we're similar size, but we are still separate, different genders, and to be able to roll and see how that plays out, whether it's like strength, whether it's mental strength, whether it's skill, because we
Agility.
started the same month too.
Yeah.
So
Well, so I'm curious because, you know, sometimes you hear from just even guys I've talked to at our gym that they're worried of,
like touching something accidentally or being in a position where the girl feels uncomfortable. So does that ever cross your mind?
I will say I try to be cautious where hands go and feet, but at the same time I can't control it. Like if I know there's been accidental grabs, like I'm trying to grab a lapel, and I will straight up apologize right there. I'll be like, I'm sorry. Like in the middle of the roll, I'm like, I'm sorry. And they're like, it's fine. And we just keep going.
Agreed.
And another thing I find really hard is the hair. I find if I'm going around the back of the head, I'm pulling somebody's hair.
We find it hard too.
Yeah.
Girls also apologize. Like there are so many times where I'm rolling with another girl and they're like, sorry, I just totally grabbed your boob there. It's like, yeah, it's okay. Let's keep going.
Yeah, so I really do try to be mindful, but like I said, in the heat of the fight, I just do what I gotta do. Yeah.
So.
And also, I go in there with the mentality, okay, this person is doing this sport with me, so they understand also, this boundary that is usually between us is out the window right now.
True.
Like I said, personal space is gone. So I go in there with the understanding that both people understand that.
Right.
So, they understand that if I'm sitting on top of them or in some kind of weird position, we're just there to do jujitsu.
Right. It's not for any other reason than that's literally the positions that
I don't look at it like that.
And I think that's such an important mentality because you're really not in those positions outside of an intimate relationship with somebody, right? We do a lot of scenarios where we practice going from closed guard, right? And you're literally inviting someone to come and
come on
be
into
between
the
your legs.
Exactly.
And it's pelvis to pelvis. There's some intimate connection there. And if you don't have that mentality, if you don't have I would say it's almost like an armor that you put up, like a mental armor that you're like, okay, I'm going into this and I know that this is what I'm doing, and even though it mimics something that would be indicative of another activity or another scenario, it's just for the purpose of training.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think that's hugely important, and especially when you're working across genders. Yeah.
Well, it's hard too because we have something that's so obvious, right in front of our face, that we're literally how are you sitting on top of somebody else and then just not gonna think about what that implies somewhere else,
Yeah.
I mean, we're humans. Yeah, it does come across, but at the end of the day, my fighting mentality supersedes that. So I'm there to train.
You know what? I think we're lucky that we have our gis. I think that maybe helps us, or even bowing into the mat, where you kind of do your bow and you're like, all right, game face on. I'm checking off to these circumstances that I'm about to be in that are not necessarily real in real life.
In this zone.
Right, even simulating a fight, simulating death. We're choking each other, We know this is real, but not fully real.
Yeah.
And I think that's cool with our gi because we kind of get to physically represent that we're not having sex. We're literally
that's not what's going on.
We're getting strong. We're getting mentally strong. We're getting out of positions. We're just completely challenging ourselves. And I think that might be different in a no-gi realm.
Yeah, it is. I mean, we've talked about that it is a bit more challenging, at least from my perspective, to roll with guys in no-gi. Because you're wearing...
it's normal clothes. Most of it. I know a lot of
we
it's
wear a lot
tighter
stuff. We wear a lot tighter clothes so that it's not coming up while rolling.
That is correct.
So it's something
or
that's very form-fitting
as well.
Yeah, it's very form-fitting. It's very thin generally.
Yep.
So it is a bit different to go between a guy's legs when you're not wearing your gi. It does feel there's a higher level of psychological
Well, you're missing that extra barrier.
It's a big barrier.
Like 2 pounds of cloth.
Yeah.
I could definitely see where that would be a little uncomfortable because I am even uncomfortable sometimes in no gi. Yeah,
So what do you think about the athletic tights that guys wear? Have you worn those? What do you think about them? Are they functional?
Always wear spandex.
Okay.
Always.
Cool.
I always wear spandex, so I know you wanted to talk about this where guys put their shit
By shit we mean penises.
Yes, by all means, yes. I just didn't want to say that, but
it said
spandex. I wear spandex every freaking class.
Nice.
So you tuck it under?
No, I don't have to. It's all nice and tight and kept together.
Okay.
But there was a few times where I did not in the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
and I learned real quick that it's a necessity because it was just I had a few uncomfortable moments. Yeah.
You
Like
can-
not like as in like gotten hit or like hurt, and I'm like, yeah, no, I gotta keep everything up and tight, everything.
Well, and from the girls' side, I can at least tell when a guy hasn't kind of like put everything in its place down there when you're, especially in nogi when you're rolling with him. Sometimes you like feel something like moving around and you're like, oh well, that's there. We've been
Well, we all know that what's there, okay? Like we all know.
yeah, but imagine you're like rolling with someone.
Yeah.
You can't like really think
Not
about it
everybody's
too much at
prepared,
that
yeah.
moment.
Not
And be
everybody's
like,
prepared like that.
excuse me,
I-
I just felt something.
Dude,
there."
some of them guys come in straight from work and they change right there. So I doubt
yeah.
that like they're prepared all the damn time.
Yeah, I mean, we in particular don't really appreciate when the guys don't wear like the full leg leggings or whatever because it's kind of
Listen, I will never wear those.
Wait, what's different to spandex than the full leg leggings?
Because I already have chicken legs. Like they're just gonna enhance the fact that I got chicken legs.
But it's so weird to like roll with someone they're sweaty and then you just have these like
I guess-
hairy ass legs
Yeah.
that
Sorry, I
you're
just-
maneuvering through.
I don't
You
know.
also
I
can't
just-
control if you have super hairy legs, so I feel that a little bit on the guy's side. But then again, I have grabbed a full-on hairy leg, sweaty leg, and it's just like, immediately when you touch it, it's kind of just like... But that is part of it, so
It is.
we might be being
Yeah.
a little picky.
It's not that.
We're
that's
allowed
not
to have
that bad.
preferences.
It's not that bad.
But that's good to know. Okay, so at least for your opinion, even for the
Spandex.
guys, it's beneficial to kind of make sure.
Like
everything's
I would
sorted
wear
out there.
longer ones, like the ones I normally have. They
Yeah.
come right above the knee,
Mhm.
but I would never wear past that. I don't think.
So someone who I spoke to, they said they would have had 3 concerns wrestling or grappling with a female. So they were hurting her, offending her, or being beaten by her in reverse order, which means that being beaten by her would have been at the top of that list.
What's the
As
worst-
reasons to
the
not
worst thing
rolling
to
with a
happen?
female.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll go right back to what I said in the beginning about how to me everybody's equal on that mat.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't look at a female any less than I do a male because especially in a sport like that, like anybody, the little guy can win. Like
Yeah.
you feel me? Like that is one thing I like about jiu-jitsu is that like it doesn't really matter the size or the gender, like anybody can win. Anybody can. As long as you know your technique, anybody can win. So that doesn't concern me. I mean, y'all know I lost the first competition due to a female. Okay, now I know you guys have talked about her before. She should not have been in our weight class.
Yeah.
By no means, but she was there, and we all faced a giant. Unfortunately, we all lost. But
You didn't feel any different type
I
of
didn't
way
feel
because she
any
was a
different
girl.
because I
Yeah.
even knew watching y'all. I was like, I can't be on bottom. I said because and I even told my wife this. I said I can't get on bottom. There's no way because if I get on bottom, she's gonna crush me, and that's what happened. It happened
all of
anyways.
us.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, that's kind of hard not to end up on bottom in that scenario.
All right. So what was one of them was hurting her,
Yeah, so being beaten by her. The next one is offending her.
offending her
Yeah, which I think
So-
would be kind of what we've discussed a bit, you know,
about
like
the mentality.
and
Like
the mistakes maybe like you accidentally grab a boob, you
Yeah.
know, you brush up against a dick, like
Like-
these
Yeah.
kind of
yes,
things that can be perceived as awkward unless you're in that mentality that we discussed.
yes, yeah. Everybody there should understand that almost every part of you is going to be touched to some extent.
Agreed. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that offending someone should be an issue, especially saying that we say I'm sorry like every other word.
Yeah.
So
Even if I slam somebody too hard, I say I'm sorry.
I'm saying I'm sorry like at least a couple times in a row,
Yes.
and so is the other person.
Yeah.
And for the only fact is to make sure that your partner is taken care of, and we
Yeah.
we speak about this a lot. Is that you're taking care of your partner is like one of your main duties.
Yep.
So just by saying sorry, it kind of just eliminates whatever happened. which is such an easy fix, you know?
Well, and I also think that to be successful in jiu-jitsu, you do have to push those boundaries of comfort a little bit, right? Like, you have to eliminate space. You have to put pressure.
Yep.
So to do an effective side control, you have to put your full weight on the person's chest.
Yeah.
If the person's a woman, either the one putting pressure or receiving pressure, your boobs and their chest are like smack up against each other. And that's just how you do that move effectively. You know, if you don't put that pressure, it's not an effective side control. So I think you do have to kind of accept, I think what you said was super apt, that you have that, just that mentality that you go in, that I'm here to train, and that's the parameters with which you interact, and that eliminates then the risk of offending somebody else. And I think it's also a matter of respect, and and I think you exemplify this really nicely, and I hope men follow in your footsteps in this way of having that respect for women on the mat as well. That, you know, obviously women and men are different, they have different biology, they have different psychology at times.
Everybody knows it.
But on the mat, you're there to train, you're there to fight, and to be able to be respected in that way as an equal on the mat is really important and really rare, I think, in our modern society at this point.
It's nice to have a training partner like Austin.
Yeah.
It's nice to be caught in his triangle and be humbled.
You're fast. You're really fast.
You are.
Those triangle trips that you get, they're like snap, and then you're like tap, tap.
I don't know, for like a good minute there in the beginning, I felt like I didn't know any submissions. Like I would be in dominant positions, but then I would go blank, and I didn't know what to do from there. So I just, one week we were working on triangles, and I'm like, I'm gonna just stick with this until I feel like I feel like I got it down.
That's a good deal.
Yeah, so like that's why like everything, it was like triangle after triangle, like that's what I was going for. I was looking for it.
And that's what they even recommend us to do anyways.
That's the same one I chose too, mostly because I have long legs.
You have very long legs. Take advantage of that shit.
Alright, so the last one is hurting her.
I feel like that goes back to that same mentality. Like, she should understand, like, if I drop your ass there, then this is part of jiu-jitsu.
You should have broke fall.
Yeah, like I'm not I did that and I still fucked my shoulder up.
Fair. And it was a literal demonstration.
Yeah, so yeah, that just goes back to what I previously said. Like they should understand. I'm not there to hurt them by no means. I don't go there and take my anger out on anybody. Like, I will kind of use that to fuel a little bit, but I don't ever like get pissed off. Like, if one of you guys choke me or give me an armbar, I don't give a shit. I understand. It's part of it. We're going to reset and go right back to it.
Well, I will say, so there is a conversation that occurs amongst the girls at the gym about who are safe training partners, who are men. This is a conversation that we have.
Interesting. I actually kind of wanted to know that.
We do talk about it because there are people who we'll roll with and we get hurt or we feel like it's not a sasafe training partner or whatever. We communicate that to each other.
Yeah.
And so you're on the good list.
Oh, hell yeah.
You're good.
Nice.
You're a good person to roll with. But we do have those conversations because we're also there to kind of, make sure that we don't get hurt. We also want to train in the most comfortable environment that we can.
Of course.
And we learn from training with guys the same way.
I mean, I like seeing everybody there. I've been in the class where it was me and 2 other people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this sucks.
Yeah.
I hated it.
Yeah.
Like, I know I was there for jiu-jitsu, but I still hated it. Like, I love it when it's a full class and you get a whole mix of people.
Yeah.
Like, that's fun to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we talk about it in terms of, are they respectful towards the women? In terms of, are they going to be aware of kind of just the fact, especially when it's a bigger guy, are they aware of their strength? Are they aware of their weight?
Yeah.
Are they able to kind of put their ego aside and actually roll without being a dick about it?
Have you guys ever rolled with Travis?
I haven't.
I have.
You? Okay.
I love rolling with that guy. I love it. Like, for him, he is a gentle giant. Like, he will humble you real quick. Like, you get going with him, and he lets you know real fast that he's superior. But then, once you reset, he teaches, and I love that shit. If you haven't rolled with him, roll with him. Yes. I mean, get past his big-ass sweaty head. But,
he can really towel around.
Yes, he does. But dude, he will teach you some cool stuff.
Well,
like, very cool stuff.
And to be honest, you're probably one of the few white belts who we are often recommended to roll with. Because
Really?
usually it's
Yeah.
higher ranked belts
Yeah.
that are viewed as being more able to navigate the dynamics of rolling with a female
Yeah.
and of just being respectful, I think. Basically having that mentality that you outlined really nicely earlier.
Yeah.
Being able to go into the space and have that mentality and roll with somebody from the opposite gender. I have rolled with Travis and I found it really nice, but Mary Beth
Yeah.
actually told me that initially he was hesitant to roll with women, and
I
then
could-
she was
I
like,
could totally see
you
that.
roll with
Really?
me, and then she rolled with him, and I think beat him, and then he was like, okay,
Interesting.
I can roll with girls now.
He'll teach you some cool stuff, and he'll teach you things that little people do on big people.
Ooh.
Yeah, 'cause he's
I
a big
love
guy.
when
Yeah,
they teach.
He's a
and
big dude.
he's got a fat neck, so he taught me how to use his own neck against him.
I love that.
Yeah.
Someone who literally teaches you how to get them.
Yes, he does. If like he'll, I could tell that he does not go 100% by no means, because otherwise he would throw me all over that mat.
Yeah.
But he does, like, he keeps a good pressure on me,
Mm-hmm.
and he will put me in some tight positions. But once I work out, he'll be like, "All right, nice, keep it going," and I'll continue, and I'll get on to something. He's like, yeah. He's like, "This is what you could do from this point."
Yeah.
We'll stop. He'll teach me whatever the move is, and we'll go over it a few times. And he's like, "All right, come here, try it on me."
That's awesome.
I think
Yeah.
we can relate to that on knowing if somebody's giving you 100% or like
Yeah.
50% or
Mhm.
10%. Because I know you've had some experiences where they are giving you such little percent and just being so extra cautious.
It's
of
just
you.
annoying.
Yeah.
And it's just hard to roll with somebody when they're not giving you enough.
They won't
You
do
need
anything.
You
They
need
won't-
resistance
they won't-
to keep it
They
going.
like are afraid to touch you. Like they
Oh.
treat you like a fucking porcelain doll. And then you get them in something, and they're all like flustered
Yeah, they're
and,
pissed off.
Right.
and pissed off. Yeah, because they think that you're just. Anyways, there was one night Karina wasn't there in class, and I
Yeah.
had the worst class of my entire life
Yeah.
because I had to roll with some brand new white belt dudes, and it just sucked hardcore. Like, I was so angry. Do you remember that night?
yeah.
I was so angry, and even
Why were you pissed off though?
I felt so patronized, and I felt like it was a waste of time.
Oh.
Like I wanted to go into class and actually train,
Yeah.
and I felt like instead I was trying to pamper like these guys' egos and accommodate it and move around it, and they wouldn't even roll. Either it was like this really intense roll where they were way bigger than me,
Yeah.
and just were not playing fair, so it just isn't fun. Kind of like in that competition where it's so unequal that it's just not fun if the people aren't kind of
It's not
matching
fair
a little
either.
bit.
I'm not.
So there was that end, and then the other end was like this porcelain doll syndrome, where it was like they wouldn't even like put the barest amount of pressure on me. I actually pulled the guy onto me and I was like, "Can you fucking put pressure on me? Otherwise,
Wow,
we're not
no
going to be
way.
able to train this move."
Yeah.
So
It's a tool. I think it's a
Yeah.
tool that we've learned to how much to put, because we even have a couple girls where they're a little bit lighter than us or whatever it is, where we know that we don't even put our whole 100%. So to know how much percent to give a person, I think that's something great. And like we find that in our partners, and then we stick to our partners, and we know the good ones that we can get with, and then just kind of work with whoever you can based on how much they give you.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
I feel like there's definitely some guys that go 100%
all
every time.
Yeah.
Every time. Like I've actually had to tell one in particular because we were prepping for testing, so they're all about the
Okay.
flow rolling because of the
Yeah.
amount of drills that we're gonna have to do. So they were all about the flow and teaching us the flow rolls that entire 2 weeks before, and like I had got this dude and he's going 100% on me, and I'm giving him 40.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm like, dude, relax, relax. I had to tell him, and did he relax? No, so I had to crank it up a little bit.
Yeah.
But at the same, I feel like some guys can't turn it off. But
But do you
Also-
There's
think
some girls that can't turn it off.
yeah, I will
So
say
some
that
girls
too.
that
Yeah.
can't-
It goes both ways.
Yeah.
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 I think the last question that we really wanted to hear your opinion on is that you do have a young daughter who you've enrolled in Jujutsu,
Yep.
and I'm curious kind of what your motivation was for that, what your conversations with her are, because it is you know, she is one of few girls in that class. Like, I
Yeah.
see the kids' class when I come in for the adult class. There's not that many of them.
I think there's only 3.
Mm-hmm.
She's one of them, and the older 2 are like
Haley
one of them's
and-
Haley.
yeah.
And she's like 12 or 13, I think.
No,
I think
she's
she's 14.
She's
yeah.
okay,
She's
all
13.
right. And then
All
Yeah.
different names.
the other one, I think she's around the same age.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's also a yellow belt, so they're significantly bigger than her.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But she loves training with them, and so I tell her to really pay attention with them because they do teach her. But honestly, the whole reason we want her involved is because I know how the world is.
Mm.
And I don't want her to ever fall victim to anything at all. And we also use it as a tool of influence for success because she, like I said, she loves softball, and she's already told me she's got her minds to set to play for FSU. Like this is the 8-year-old telling me this. Yeah, it's incredible.
Oh my god.
So I've told her that if that's something she wants to do, then she has to be a more versatile athlete.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, this will make you powerful. And she
It
doesn't
will.
understand it. She hates it. She hates jiu-jitsu. She's told me she's wanted to quit so many times. But we actually, like just last week, I told her, because her spring season starting up, I said, if you want to quit jiu-jitsu, you have to drop softball too.
Oh.
So I told her that's her payment to me, is I want her to do jiu-jitsu so she could play softball.
Mm.
Because softball's a lot of work. It is.
I
And
used to play softball all
yeah,
the way through
it's
high
a
school.
lot of
Yeah.
work, and she's a little badass, and she loves it. Like, she's been playing for almost 2 years straight. Like, straight. I mean, back-to-back seasons.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah, she loves it.
Yeah. With the all stars and
Yeah.
everything.
She loves it. So, I told her, I said, this is only going to make you a better person.
Yeah.
And, like, my son, too, he doesn't like it either. I'm like, y'all don't understand. My parents didn't invest any of this time that I've done for you, like, what we do for them. So, like, they could be black belts by the time they're our age, you feel me?
Yes.
So, like,
Get on it.
yeah, exactly. I want them to stick with it.
Yeah.
But
It
they
must
were
be.
both. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
It must be hard to hear them say that they don't like it.
I mean, it is hard, but it's okay. I understand it.
I mean, I wish, like, in retrospect, I wish I would have had these skills
Me too.
at a younger age.
Yeah.
And I think
All of us do. I
we
think.
come to, Karina and I came to jiu-jitsu for different reasons, but mine was largely based on the desire to be able to defend myself
Mhm.
and to back up my saying no with, like, the physical capabilities to enforce that.
Oh,
you know?
absolutely, yes.
And, I mean, we do live in a world where the statistics are that 1 in 4 women are going to be sexually assaulted,
Mm-hmm.
you know, which is a really absurd statistic, and that's from those that are reported,
Yep.
you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
True.
And so the ability to defend yourself against someone who's physically bigger than you, which is going to be the majority of those instances, right, when you're a female versus a
Yep.
male, I think is invaluable. And I think also jiu-jitsu really instills a lot of discipline,
Yes,
a lot
it does.
of mental and physical stamina. And, you know, they might not like it, but I saw your kids when they got their stripes and they were pretty stoked.
Oh,
on
my
it.
daughter was so...
Yeah.
And she got 2
Too.
stripes.
Yeah.
I was talking to you about it.
She
I
was
don't know how the hell
also-
she got 2 stripes. We started at the same time.
They're
Okay. But she was so proud. So I feel like that definitely picked her up for sure. And quite honestly, like, I had just talked to one of the teachers the other day, and she was telling me, like, how AJ's kind of a little trouble in class.
Mm.
So at testing, I didn't even know that he knew that shit at all. He surprised the hell out of me.
Yeah, he did
I
what he was
yeah,
supposed
he
to.
did exactly what he was supposed to. He did great.
Yeah.
So I just, we're all about positive enforcement. So we steady feed them, and they love that shit. So I mean, they've been back on the mat. Yeah.
It's so nice to see. Like, I can only hope to do the same.
Yeah.
I'd
it's
love
fun.
to put my kids through jiu-jitsu. I wish that I had done it earlier.
Y'all start seeing me Fridays now because.
Hell yeah. Are you going to be wearing the leggings or what?
No, hell no. I already told you that. You'll never
we'll buy
catch
them
me in
for
it.
you.
Yeah, never catch me in it. Never.
Well, Austin, it's been so nice. maybe if we pitch in and surprise you.
Yeah, we'll give you can't refuse a gift.
I'll take it, but I won't ever wear it. Like, it's not gonna happen.
Oh, man.
Well, hopefully you'll come on our podcast again sometime. 'Cause it's
Yeah,
been,
this is fun. I like this.
it's been very nice having you, and I think we could have some interesting conversations.
Yeah.
So thank
Yeah, for
you,
sure.
and we'll catch you guys next week, whether on the mat or
off the mat.